नमस्कार सर.
नमस्कार. ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः. गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी. विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा. ॐ महासरस्वत्यै नमः. ब्रह्मस्वरूपं 66. ब्रह्मा अभिन्नत्वविज्ञानं भवमोक्षस्य कारणं येनाद्वितीयमानन्दं ब्रह्म सम्पद्यते बुधैः. सत्यं ज्ञानमनन्तं ब्रह्म विशुद्धं परं स्वतः सिद्धं नित्यानन्दैकरसं प्रत्यग् अभिन्नं निरन्तरं जयति. सद्ब्रह्मकार्यं सकलं सदैव सन्मात्रमेतन्न ततोऽन्यदस्ति अस्तीति यो वक्ति न तस्य मोहः विनिर्गतो निद्रवत् प्रजल्पः. ब्रह्मैवेदं विश्वमित्येव वाणी श्रौती ब्रूतेऽथर्वनिष्ठा वरिष्ठा. तस्मादेतद्ब्रह्ममात्रं हि विश्वं नाधिष्ठानाद्भिन्नतारोपितस्य. सत्यं यदि स्याज्जगदेतदात्मनः अनन्तत्वहानि निर्गमप्रमाणता. असत्यवादित्वमपीशितु स्यात् नैतत्त्रयं साधुहितं महात्मनाम्. ईश्वरो वस्तुतत्त्वज्ञः न चाहन्तेष्वस्थितः न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि इत्येवमेव व्यचीक्लिपत्. यदि सत्यं भवेद्विश्वं सुषुप्तौ उपलभ्यताम्. यन्नोपलभ्यते किञ्चित् अतो असत् स्वप्नवन्मृषा. अतः असत् स्वप्नवत् मृषा. असोसत् स्वप्नवन्मृषा. अतः पृथङ् पृथङ्गानिस्ति जगत्परात्मनः. पृथक् प्रतीतिस्तु मृषा गुणाहिवत्. आरोपितस्यास्ति किमर्थवत्ता अधिष्ठानमभाति तथा भ्रमेण. Okay, we were at this 73rd shloka. So we saw up to 72. Brahma Lakshanam. And first was Brahma Abhinnatva Vijnanam Bhavamokshasya Karanam. Okay, and it is Advitiyam. It is of the nature Satyam Jnanam Anantam Vishuddham Swatassiddham Nityananda Ekarasam Abhinnam Nirantaram Jayati. And Brahma Satkaryam is this Jagat, and there is nothing without this Brahma Karyam. Without Brahman there is this Jagat. All the living, non-living, which is already present, which is going to come, manifested, unmanifested, everything is Sat Brahma Karyam. Okay. And in case someone says that this Jagat also has got a Paramarthika reality, then it's like blabbering in sleep. And then he gives pramanas from the Atharva Veda. Brahmai Vedam Vishwamityeva Vani. And Brahma Matram Hi Vishwam. And the rest are Aropitasya on the Adhishtana. So, if there is an Aropita, the Adhishtana is only given the value, not the Aropita. So, if you are there and your dress is there, you will not be separate and your dress will not be given a separate value. The dress will be considered as a part of you and you will only be given the value. Same way, Brahman will be given the value Paramarthikataya, whereas Vishwam, although Vishwam is the one which is very much transactable, experienceable, everything, but the Adhishtana is Brahman and Vishwam is Aropitasya. Satyam yadi syad jagat etad atmanaha. In case for matter you consider that this jagat has got a existence like or independent existence like Brahman, then Anantatvahani, three problems will come. Anantatvahani, Nigama Apramanata and Asatyavaditva Api Ishatuhu. Bhagavan will become the one of the liar. Anantatva of Brahman will be challenged. Nigama Apramanata, the Shruti will become Apramana. There will be no sanctity of the Shruti. It will never be the Pramana. And if these three happen, it is not Hitam. It is not correct for as per Mahatma. Hence, if that consideration that Jagat is a Satyam, then it has to be dropped. Then further clarification he gives, where quotations are given, Ishvaraha Vastu Tattvajnaha Nachahanteshvavastitaha Nacha Matstani Bhutani from Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, 3 and 4. We saw that. And hence, because Ishvara is the one who knows everything, only Ishvara has an existence and Jagat will not have. Jagat is not within Ishvara and Nacha Matstani Bhutani Nacha Ahanteshu Avastitaha. I am not dependent on it, neither the Prakriti is dependent on me. That's how he is putting it. Okay. So one is Vyavaharika Drishti, other is Paramarthika Drishti. Yadi Satyam Bhaved Vishwam Sushuktau Upalabhyatam. So during deep sleep also, it should be available for transaction. Because Sat is defined as Trikale Tishtaditi Sat. So Jagrat Swapna Sushupti, in the Sushupti Avastha also Sat should be available. And hence, the world is not available in Sushupti Avastha. Even a minute, a very infinitesimal part also of the world is not available. Then how can you call it as Satyam? Okay. And this is where we stopped after just looking at the next shloka. Athaha Prithang Nasti Jagat Paratmanaha Prithak Pratiti Astu Pratitihi tu Mrisha Guna hivat, guna hivat. Okay. Ataha. So now when he says ataha, ataha is based on the above discussions. Therefore, as in a, if you want to prove something, you put few of the principles, your points, and then you deduce certain things and then say, hence, therefore, this is proven. So like that, ataha, based on all the above which is mentioned, he says, prithak nasti jagat paratmanaha. It can be definitely said that Jagat is not Paramatma. It can be very, very explicitly confirmed, and it can be told that Jagat is not Paramatma. But Prithak Pratiti tu Mrisha Gunahivat. Okay. So when you say this Prithak, this word Prithak means very clearly, for sure, prathak, very crisply, that's what it means. Okay, so prathak ataha prathak na asti jagat paratmana. Hence, the world is not separate from Ishvaraha or Paramatma. That is very clear. Okay. Prithak pratiti. It appears to be separate. It appears to be clear. It appears to be transactable. It is filled with colors. It is filled with variations, changes. You can transact with it. You can do whatever you want with it. So, because you can do with it, Mrisha Guna Ahivat. Okay. Mrisha is false. Deluded, false, Mrisha. So, something like, a horizon. It seems to be true, but when you go there, you see that there is nothing called a horizon. Something like Mrit Trishna, your, what do you call the mirage. So when you see a mirage, it looks as though true, but when you go and check it, you will see there is not even an iota of truth. So he says, Prithak Pratiti, although the Vishwam looks separate, it is not separate from Paramatma. Why it looks separate? Guna Ahivat. So, like that of a snake which is superimposed on a rope. Okay, there is a real rope and there is a false snake. The false snake is superimposed on a real rope. Like that, there is a real Brahman, there is a Mrisha or a false Vishwam, which doesn't have any independent existence, but this Vishwam is superimposed on Brahman, and because it is superimposed, we are able to transact only on this false Vishwam, and hence we give Vishwam a separate entity status. Okay, are you able to see? So first he says it is not there. It is completely not there. Whatever is the substratum that is there, the superimposed doesn't actually be there. For example, you have a crystal, you have a colored flower. That flower color gets superimposed on the crystal which doesn't have any color, which doesn't have any light or any, it just reflects light. So that a normal colorless crystal or a white crystal appears to be red in presence of a red flower nearby. because the color of the flower is aropita, it is superimposed on the crystal, and hence we start talking the crystal looks beautiful, what a red beautiful color, because we are transacting and it shows as though the crystal itself is red in color. So there is a crystal and there is a red color, and these two are two separate entity, but understand that there is no red color at all. It looks as though red because it is superimposed on this crystal. So he says prithak, it is separate. And how? Like guna ahivat, like that of all the properties of the snake, as it gets superimposed onto the real rope, like that the whole thing is being visible on Brahman, where the whole Vishwam is getting superimposed, and the Vishwam gets actually a, it is like, one another example is like the sun and the moon. The moon doesn't have light of its own, but because the sun's rays fall on it, moon is also considered to be a luminary object in the sky. But does the moon has its own light? No, only stars have it. Okay, so the light on the moon is aropita from the sun. Right? So you cannot say moon has a separate existence. If the sun is not there, the moon will not be there. But if the moon is not there, sun continues to exist. Clear? Hence, the superimposition of the light on the moon is exactly of the identical nature of the moon. And hence, we believe that there is a separate moon and a moonlight. Are you able to see that? And like that he says, because on the Brahman, the Vishwam is aropita, like the guna ahivat, aropitas tasya kimarthavatta. So he is asking that whatever is superimposed, where does it have arthavatta, a meaning? Where does it have a prominence? Where does it have an independent existence? Adhishtanam abhati. Okay. Tatha brahmena. He says adhishtanam, the substratum appears, and that brahmena like a delusion. So he says through delusion, it is only the substratum which is appearing as though a separate entity called Vishwa. Are you able to get this? Very, very nicely explained. So the logic is also clear. The practical experience also we know it. And if this is possible, we can clearly expect this to happen in the whole Vishwam. Because without Brahman, Vishwam cannot exist. Without Vishwam, Brahman is always there. And if Brahman is only there, then the Vishwam is Brahman with superimposed Prakriti. Because it is superimposed, because it looks like separate than Brahman, you cannot call it having a separate existence, or you can't call it an entity of the same status, because it is superimposition on Brahman. So it is only the substratum which is looked like the Vishwam in different colors, in different forms, in different transactions. So hence the whole thing reduces back to Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Is it clear? So this part is established. Now comes a very crucial part. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. The third part. So first we have to understand that the whole pillars of Vedanta, the main principles are, first you go and understand by Bhagatyaga what is Aham. or what is this Tvam. Correct? By Bhagatyaga, you will understand very clearly that we are made up of essential sentiency, which is Atma, on which there is a body, Sthula Sukshma Karana Sharirani, which has got Avasthatraya, which has got Panchakoshadi, and it is that original Atma, the consciousness, which is reflecting through each of these layers, making it sentient, and this whole total together you call I. And from the learning, we have learned to dissect all the external part and finally claim that I is nothing other than Atma. So one portion, Aham or Tvampada Lakshyartha, is done here. Now comes Tatpada Lakshyartha or Brahmapada Lakshyartha. So we start with the world. World is a product. If it is a product, it has to have Nimitta Karana, Upadana Karana. So the first point is there has to be an intelligent cause, which is the Nimitta Karana, which is the Brahman. And then we understand that this Brahman becomes Parinami Upadana Karana. Are you able to get that? Parinami Upadana Karana. So when you say Parinami Upadana Karanam, Brahman, who was considered to be the creator, now has become the created, the manifested. Because Brahman is the substratum of the whole manifestation, and the whole world is superimposed on Brahman. So Brahma Matram, Kinchit Brahma Matram. Other than that, there is nothing called the world. So now, when we look at the Vishwam, or we look at the Tat or Brahmapadam, we bring in two aspects, Nimitta Karanam, Upadana Karanam. Both need to be there. Then we bring in a concept called Ishvara is Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. Then that Ishvara is present in the whole Vishwam as Parinami Upadana Karanam. And because it is Parinami Upadana Karanam, then slowly in the last shloka we have seen that it is not Parinami Upadana Karanam, it is Vivarta Upadana Karanam. The difference between Parinami Upadana Karanam is Brahman becomes the world is Parinami Upadana Karanam. Vivarta Upadana Karanam is the world doesn't have an existence, but it is superimposed on Brahman. Earlier while saying, we said one to many, as though one Brahman has become many in the world. Then later on we go to say that no, one doesn't become many, that one remains as one. But on the many, they are just different mirrors where you see Brahman's image, and that is called Vivarta Upadana Karanam. That means Vishwam is just Darpana Drishyamana Nagari. Are you able to get this? Vishwam Darpana, it is like a mirror. Drishyamana, it shows various forms, transactions, everything. So when you stand in front of the mirror and you do everything, whatever you want, and someone who is not able to see you but your image, they will actually feel that you are present there. But in reality it is Adhyaropita. You are superimposed as an image on that mirror, and hence it's an RC. Okay, same way, Brahman remaining Brahman, like that of the rope, the whole world is superimposed on Brahman, and hence the only Vivarta Upadana Karanam is Brahman. So we are moving from Nimitta Karanam, Upadana Karanam. Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam, from that we are going to Parinami Upadana Karanam, from there we are going to Vivarta Upadana Karanam. Technical, but required. Can't help it. You all have all come to that advanced level. Now we have to learn it that way. Because explaining this will be tougher. Learning it this way will be much easier. Hopefully you have understood this. You have understood? Clear? No doubts on this? Okay. Now comes the challenge. In the first portion, in cooking you cut the vegetables, you prepare all that dal wal निकाल के सब जो है उसको clean करके सब रख दिया, and then you boil it and keep. Then you will take the vegetables, you will सब boil करके, and last में you have to finally mix all that together and make one sabzi out of that. Correct? So the first portion we have clearly understood what Atma is from Vyashti. Then we have understood what Brahman is there from Samashti. Clear? So 2 portions are ready now. Now the main cook will come and he will mix both all this and he will check whether it is ready or not. Because if Atma is present as an entity which is the Nishkarsha of that first Tvampada Lakshyartha, and Brahman is present as an entity from Brahmapada Lakshyartha, now there are 2 entities. Are you able to get the problem now? There is an Atma which is one entity, which I have logically deduced and kept it there. Brahman from the Samashti I have logically deduced and kept it there. So in all this, I, the subject, has discerned or broken myself into one object called Atma. I, the subject, has broken the whole world and said that what is available is Brahman. So how many things are there? I am present, Atma is present, Brahman is present. Now if you say I is present and Atma is present, I can logically say that no. I have already broken that I, which is understanding faculty of mine, which is calling this Atma as I. So there is no I present, I can replace I equal to Atma. Okay, so the subject is Atma, object is Brahman. Earlier I was the subject, Atma was the object, Brahman was the object. But from the logical deduction, I know that I is actually equal to Atma. So I can replace I, the subject, equal to Atma as the subject. So there is one subject who is understanding one object called Brahman. But if Brahman gets objectified and if I am present, both are limiting each other. Are you able to get that? Both are limiting each other because now there are 2 entities. So I, the Atma, is unlimited. Brahman is unlimited. Can you say there is unlimited 1 and unlimited 2 now? Infinite 1 and infinite 2 both together are making that full infinite. Infinite is made up of 2 sets. Infinite 1 and infinite 2. These 2 together is full infinite. Can you tell it that way? That is foolish. If you say there is infinite 1 and infinite 2, then by common sense, there will be only one possibility for this. Infinite 1 equal to infinite 2. That becomes a necessary and sufficient condition, then only it will go ahead. Then only you can continue to maintain Anantatvam of Atma and Anantatvam of Brahman. That means Atma and Brahman are just Nama. Naam ke vaste 2 words for whom I. capital I or the Atma only remains Brahman equal to I, Atma equal to I equal to Brahman equal to Atma. So there is only one entity. Advitiya. And this is called Aikyam. This logically joining these two together is called Aikyam. We have logically bought two separate entities, and these two entities we are saying cannot be limited, and by using this clause in logical deduction we will say that I equal to Atma equal to Brahma, and this is what Shruti is also going to support, and hence there are many Shruti Vakyams on this. And the famous 4 Shruti Vakyams come. They are called Mahavakyam. Mahavakyam is not Mahan because it is a long one. Mahavakyam is because it does Aikyam of Tvampada Lakshyartha and Tatpada Lakshyartha. That is why it is called a Mahavakyam. So, Aham Brahma Asmi Tat Tvam Asi Prajnanam Brahma Ayam Atma Brahma Ayam Atma Brahma. I equal to Atma equal to Brahman. Very, very clear. Aham Brahma Asmi. I am nothing other than Brahman. I equal to Atma. Tat Tvam Asi. That Brahman is you and no one else. Are you able to get that? So now, when a teacher is teaching this, the teacher will always use for communication Tattvamasi. You are that student, oh student, you are that Brahman. You means what? You, the Atma, is that Brahman. And when the student understands it and wants to express, how will the student tell the teacher? Not Tattvamasi. Aham Brahmasmi. Both mean the same. Okay. So when the teacher is teaching, it is through a second person. But when the student is responding, it will be through first person. Are you able to get this? Because both mean the same. Okay. And this is exactly how in the Shruti this is being taught. So in Chandogya Upanishad, you have Shvetaketu and Uddalaka Aruni, the father is stating, Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. 16 times it will come. Not once or twice. 16 times Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. You are that Shvetaketu. You are nothing but that Atma which is Brahman. Tat Tvam Asi Shvetaketu. Don't consider that there are only 4 such Mahavakyams. There are thousands and thousands of Mahavakyams in the Shruti. But these are very crisp and clear, and hence these are taken as examples which represent the Mahavakyam. For all the Mahavakyams, these are representative ones. Okay. For example, if you have a pot of rice which is boiling, you don't press every rice to see whether it is boiled or not. If you take 1 or 2 and press it, you will know it is boiled or not. That becomes a sample, representative sample like that. Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi, Ayam Atma Brahma and Prajnanam Brahma are representative Mahavakyams which are very, very crisp, clear, without any doubt for all the 4 Vedas. Okay, consistently all the 4 Vedas proclaim this Mahavakyam. Right? Like that we have other Mahavakyams also. Many will come. When you keep chanting, there are many places where you can say, oh, this is a Mahavakyam. Brahma Tvagam Rajan Brahmasi Satyasavaso Brahma Twagam Rajan. Brahma Twagam Rajan Asi. Hey Rajan, you are Brahman. Mahavakyam. Are you able to get this? Like that, many places it will come. Asavadityaha. Sa Atma Asavadityaha. You are that Atma, you are the same Adityaha. Aditya is Brahman now. Asau Adityaha. Asavaditya Esha Purushaha. Are you getting? So many places Mahavakyam will come. It has to be properly understood and deciphered. And these are very, very specific, small sentences which are very, very clear, and hence these are considered and taken as example in most of the teachings. Okay, if this is understood, the others will be easily understood. Right. So now we will see Aikyam Vag. So the next topic is Asipadarthaha or the Aikyam. Okay. So 74th. What is the time? Okay. 74th one. Tattvam padabhyam abhidhiyam anayoho brahmatmano shodhitayor yadi itham. Okay. Shrutya tayoh tattvamasiti samyak ekatvameva pratipadyate muhuhu. So, from 241 to 249 shloka in the original text of Brahma Sutra, Viveka Chudamani, it is Asi is the topic, Aikyam is the topic. Okay, here the representative or maybe 4 or 5 shlokas will be there. 4 or 5 shlokas where this Asi comes. And the normal way is first you give pramana. This Shruti tells this Shruti tells this. Then you justify logically. Okay. It is always better to give the pramana the way the Shruti has given, so that we don't put our mirchi masala and thereby the student can get confused. So it is always better to put the Shruti and you get a adhara for it. Then once that becomes clear, using that principle, you start explaining. For example, Newton's 3 laws of motion, you never start explaining it. You will first state the law, word by word the meaning of the law. The sum and substance or the explanation of it or the logic will not be understood by the student at that time. But every word which makes the whole thing clear, are you able to understand the concept what is said? Whether you agree, you have accepted, you have understood, it's a different thing. But at least that sentence meaning, is it clear or is there an ambiguity? So first is pramana and getting the clarity there. Okay, this is what the pramana says. That means I am not using my intellect to evaluate whether this pramana is real pramana or apramana. Whether it is true or false, using my intellect, I should not do it first. I should take it for granted that that is the truth and that is how it is said. Keeping that in the mind, when you look at the logical explanation, the corollaries, it becomes very clear, oh, this is the reason why it is told. Correct? It's exactly similar to how we tell children, first do it. 5 times you do something, then you will know why you have to do it that way, how you have to do that way. But if you give a 2 hours lecture to that child and then say, now do it, the child will not be able to do. So first is pramana. Don't challenge the pramana, let it go in. Be neutral, let it go in. Okay, you may agree with it, you may not agree with it, which is fine. But then you will get a chance to logically evaluate it with an inquiry. And at that logic, if you are able to convince yourself, then Mananam has happened. If you are not able to convince, you may take support of the teacher or someone else to get a clear conviction. Suppose after that also you are not convinced and no one is able to convince you, you have got some other logic which is so strong, then you will drop this philosophy and go to that philosophy. Simple. Nothing other than that. If this is not acceptable, then you will go to the philosophy which is acceptable, because you have that alternate philosophy which is not allowing you to accept this philosophy, right? So right now, don't apply what you feel should be the right one. Take it in a neutral way first. Tattvamasi is what the Aikyam is, right? And because we have been telling this, it is not a new concept. You have been hearing this, you have been learning this, you have been connected with it. It becomes easy for us to digest it quickly. At least fake it and make it. If not convinced, we can fake it and make it right now. And that is good enough. Okay, that is good enough. Right now we first take it that way. Then we move ahead. So he says, Tat Tvam Padabhyam. So this terms, Tat Tvam. Tat Tvam. Thou art you. Tat Tvam. That thou. Okay. Abhidiyamanayoho. Abhidiya. What is Abhidana? Abhidana is to denote. Now he brings one beautiful Sanskrit word here, or he brings a Sanskrit grammar where it seemed to be looking as two separate. Abhidhiyamanayoho. Dvivachanam he brings. Why? There are two terms, tat and tvam. Okay. Initially, how many terms are there? Don't come and say it is Tattvamasi, already I know, so there is only one term. No. You do not know. Now you are going to know it. So how many terms are there? Tat is also there, Tvam is also there. Brahman is also there, Aham is also there. So they are two separate. So they denote two separate things, entities. Abhidiyamanayoho. They are denoted. These two are denoted. Brahma Atmanoho. So Tat equal to Brahma, Tvam equal to Atma. So again he is bringing Dvivachanam, Brahma Atmanoho, Brahma and Atmanaha. So both together, as per rule of Sandhi, it will become Brahma Atmanoho, Brahma cha Atmanaha cha Brahmatmanoho. Okay, so he says Brahma Atmanoho Abhidiyamanayoho. So these two words, Tat and Tvam, which denote Brahman and Atma, Shodhitayoho. Okay, Shodhitayoho. What is Shodhita? Shodhita is coming from the word Shuddha. Shuddha is pure. Shodhita is purified. Okay. So if you purify them, Shodhitayoho, once purified, what do you mean by purifying them? When did Atma and Brahman become impure? To purify them. When did Atma and Brahman become impure? Did it become impure or not? Did it become impure or not? I don't know. Are you all with me?
So what do you mean by impure? I mean, if it's in our thoughts that we are considering it to be separate, then it's impure.
Exactly. That's what he is saying. You have conditioned yourself when you have these two words. That means whatever it is in absolute, you have modified it by your own thoughts, and thereby you have made it impure. So now he says, if you purify them, that means if you remove all the conditions put by you on them, left to itself the way it is, if you are ready to see it that way, that means unconditionally, when you look at this two things, Tat and Tvam, which denotes Brahma and Atman, if you purify them, or when they are purified, eliminating all the conditions, Yat Itham, okay, which thus, how it is done? Shrutya, by the Shruti. Okay, the moment I remove all the conditions on these two things, which by the Shruti, the way it is said, Tattvamasi, you are that Samyak, that is the absolute Ekatvam, Advitiyatvam, no two separate entity, Eva Pratipadyate, gets established. Muhuhu, repeatedly. So he says, understand today that you have conditioned. First of all, I did not know what is Atma and what is Brahman. Then I came to this class. I was happily considering that I am an entity, world is another entity, I am transacting with the world and all that. But I had certain problems. That is why I came to this class. I was not feeling correct. Somewhere some hitch was there. I was not getting my answers. Okay, when I came to the class, I started getting the answers, because definitions of what world and what I am started becoming clear now. Now, in the process of understanding what me and Brahman is there, I have further also, which I was not knowing about it, I was blissfully ignorant. Now, what do you call opposite of bliss? Unblissfully knowledgeable about it. So I lost my bliss because I became knowledgeable about Atma and Brahman. Why? I further conditioned it. Are you able to see that? This conditioning of mind, so far as there, is always going to make it look two separate. If you remember Tattvabodha also, after the teacher gave that Asi, the student asked the basic question, how can I be equal to Brahman? We are two distinct things. And that is why that Tatpada Lakshyartha and Vachyartha, Tvampada Lakshyartha, Tvampada Vachyartha was there. He says Vachyartha wise what you are saying is right, but Lakshyartha wise, unconditionally. Now how do you remove this condition? Now the condition has come. Whatever said and done, there is a conditioning in our mind which has come, right? You have your own idea of what is Atma, you have your own idea of what is Brahman, there is some conditioning in it, and I know for sure, how much ever it is said, this conditioning is not making me accept these two are the same. Now the conditioning has to be removed. How the conditioning can be removed? And that is where he brings Shrutya, by the Shruti. So if you remove this conditioning by the Shruti, the way Shruti tells, if you are understanding it properly, the conditioning will be removed. And once if the conditioning is removed, then you will see Ekatva, you will see all of them being Samyak Ekatvam, absolutely one identity, single, Advitiya eva Pratipadyate. It becomes and it gets established repeatedly. That means the Shruti repeatedly is establishing the same concept again and again through various acharya to the Shishya in the form of Upanishad or in the form of any other text. Are you able to get that? So there is a method of deconditioning Atman and Brahman, and that is a Shruti method only we can do. Any other method if we go, because the Shruti ends up not objectifying these two entities, and then this two entities which is my own conditioning is also broken, and it gets established that there is only one entity and nothing else. Brahmaiva Satya. Nothing else remains. Okay, so this deconditioning needs to happen. Shruti Pramana through the Shruti, by the Shruti way, and that's the only way which you will be able to understand. So he says, Shruti in its maxim always says that Tattvamasi, repeatedly and establish the oneness, indicating that Tat and Tvam, these terms of the relative association or literal meaning have to be understood. That means deconditioning equal to Lakshyartha, conditioned meaning is Vachyartha. Are you able to get that? Is it clear? And Shruti establishes it, learn it the Shruti way, which the Acharya is again taught that way only. And only when you are able to ask that inquiry and logically get a solution for it, you will see there is only one necessary and sufficient condition by which you will not distort the principles of Brahman and Atma, whereby Brahman equal to Atma is the only necessary and sufficient condition. Any other condition you put, it will not work. That means there are no two separate entities, they are one Advitiyameva, and not only that, Aham Asmi. I am that Brahman and Atma. Even now when I say Atma, you will say my Atma. You will never say Aham Atma. Because we are still conditioned to see ourselves through the body. Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarvabhutashayasthitaha. He says, he never say Mama Atma. Aham Atma. I that Atma. I that Brahman. Okay, so that ownership is the toughest one. Up to the earlier two levels, it is very easy for any person to accept that, okay, there is gold also, there is ornament also. The ornament is superimposed on the gold. Goldeva Satyam. I am there, gold is there. But tomorrow if someone says, I am that gold, you will say you have got mad. Correct? Because we have conditioned that if I am seeing something, that is an object. If I have considered Brahman to be everything, in me it is Atma, outside it is Brahman. That means I have separated myself from the entity called Vishwam. And I have separated Brahman from being in me. Vishwan Darpana, I am a part of the Vishwam, so Brahman is also to be reflected in me, right? So this conditioning unknowingly happens. Are you able to get this? And this deconditioning, when you do it, that requires a good amount of mananam and nididhyasam. So the Shruti, only Shravanam will happen. Tattvamasi Shveta Keto. Even we will do lip service. Tattvamasi Shveta Keto. And later on say, God knows 16 times why he had to tell Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi. एक बार बोला तो बस नहीं हुआ क्या? इतना बुद्धू है क्या वो स्टूडेंट? Correct? But 1600 times you have only done lip service that Tattvamasi. Not even once it has been understood that I am that Atma, I am that Brahman. Are you able to get that? So Brahman equal to Atma, very easy. But I equal to that Brahman equal to Atma is the toughest one. That is why many people say Advaita Vedanta is all very dry. It's very tough. It is very difficult. Because you have to go to the next plane to understand that there is no second. If there is no second, then when I cannot say I don't exist, I exist to know that plane. I exist what? Atma Rupena. Then Brahman is what? Brahma is Atma Rupena. So I equal to Brahman equal to Atma and nothing else exists. That should be the view and then transact in the world. Then transact in the world. So far as I am sitting in a meditation, Nirvikalpaka Samadhi, I can do this. But after that, transacting in the world, continuing that I equal to Brahman equal to you equal to everyone Vastutaha. Paramarthikataya is equal to one. Chandalostu Satu Dvijostu Gururiti Esha Manisha Mama. Chandalostu Sat Dvijostu Gururiti. Let it be a Brahmana or let it be a Chandalaha, both are my Guru and both are one and the same because it is me. Esha Manisha Mama. Are we able to get this? And this is the toughest portion of Advaita Vedanta, which Acharyas have tried to simplify it using Shruti Pramana and Smriti Pramana by examples, because every example will only try to objectify it, not get the whole aspect, because every object you will accept it. If I say like the butter in the milk, yes, I agree. Butter is there in the milk. Ghee is there in every milk. Milk is nothing other but ghee. Diluted ghee with water and everything else is called milk. Perfectly right. But you are that ghee. No. I can make ghee, I can eat ghee, I can do everything, but I am not that ghee. समझ में आ रहा है? The moment that connection comes, the whole Dvaita world stands very, very distinctly and straight. So that is required. First is acceptance and conviction. Once the conviction comes, a lot of sadhana has to be done to change that old habit of thinking that I, the subject, is thinking about an object called Atma or Brahman. That change should happen by sadhanas, that I am nothing but the Brahman. And slowly you will, it is not a brainwashing because already conviction is there. It is only a habitual body-based thinking or empirical-based thinking. Vyavaharika thought is so embedded in us that we can never have Paramarthika thought and continue Vyavahara and Vyavaharika. We can talk Paramarthika for some time and then be in that Paramarthika not doing any Vyavahara, or we can be Vyavaharika and forgetting the whole Paramarthika. But seeing always the gold in every ornament and still transacting, only a goldsmith can do. The jewelry shop person can do, because what he is selling is not ornaments. He is selling only gold, gold and gold, eva gold. Every milligram or microgram of gold is what makes sense to him, not at all the design. देखने वाले का नजरिया डिजाइन पे, but he will keep on showing you the one which has got more gold in it. Gold darshanam eva. For him it is Advaita gold darshanam. For me it is Mahadvaita ornament darshanam. Now these are two separate darshanams standing and transacting at the same. If I get the gold darshanam, then I will be talking the same way as that goldsmith is talking, or the goldsmith will talk the same language as I talk, which means there is no difference between me and that goldsmith. We both are no one. समझ में आ रहा है अभी? So in everything when we see Brahman, and that is none other than me, then slowly, slowly we start deconditioning ourselves. Are you able to get this? Okay, slowly it has to go. It is tough. It is not an easy thing, but slowly we will go there. Okay, so a very important one on a very nice evening, Mahashivratri day. Shivoham, Shivoham, nothing other than Aham Shiva Asmi. I am that pure and nothing else I am. We will stop it here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaskar.
Namaskaram.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.